Bitter cold temperatures are freezing up fire hydrants like this one, making it difficult for firefighters to fight fires like this one. The Chicago City Council has approved an $8.5 billion plan to upgrade O'Hare International Airport.
And this is what our tires are getting stuck on. It's nearly impossible to get traction, so just not a good travel day at all if you can avoid it.
YouTube is cracking down on a dangerous new online trend. The trend involves teenagers and laundry pods.
I was talking to the Goodwill volunteers earlier. We were saying it's giving us goosebumps to see these people come in and say, hey, I want to help my community.
Rescuers in Houston worked overnight to save people who were still trapped by flooding caused by Tropical Storm Harvey. And this is where you can find a live, full-grown shrimp and what you can take home with you today. Police say that truck veered off of M62, hitting this pole before eventually smashing into that door behind me, trapping 4 people inside. New video this morning, a driver in South Carolina is shot several times during a traffic stop. The shooter was not a police officer, but a volunteer. Crews have been able to keep up so far, but they say as the snow continues to fall, they're running out of room. 2 Michigan girls who police say went missing sometime Sunday night are safe at home this morning, and it's all thanks to a police officer and his canine partner. If you're ever out and you need help, one of the newest, most useful features allows you to discreetly call 911 by clicking the lock button 5 times. North Korea says it's seriously considering a missile strike on the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam. While the chemicals inside this plant fueled the flames, fire crews say those frigid temperatures slowed the battle. The aroma that starts so many of our days starts right here in Michiana.
This coffee is fresh. We normally roast it and deliver it the day of or the day after.
That aroma is what turned these 2 longtime friends into business partners.
We were in a quaint little town in Arizona, and we were like, what is that aroma? That's fantastic. It was kind of like a aha moment.
So they made the big leap, bought a roaster, and rented out a space in the old Bendix plant on South Bend's west side.
Here's a building right here in South Bend, and you know, the city supports entrepreneurial things like this. You know, it just seemed to make sense.
And Bendix Coffee was born. And Jill DeLucia and Karen Hahn have been chasing that aroma ever since, even traveling as far as the coffee farms in Colombia to learn the art of roasting.
It was beautiful and wonderful, and we learned a lot, and went to the decaffeination plant and to several coffee plantations or farms.
They import 13 different origins of coffee from all over the world, most of it from South America.
This is specialty grade coffee, which is by itself, you know, the beans are more uniform in size and texture and so forth like that. So that right there makes the coffee a better quality of coffee.
Each batch hand-tailored to the customer's unique palate.
We don't wing it. We follow the recipe so that if you get a really good coffee, it's what you really love, we can do that again and again and again. So we've tried to make sure our processes are such that we can be consistently good.
And it keeps them consistently fulfilled. Each time they hand label a new package of robust roast, they remind themselves that following their passion for perfection is certainly worth the grind.
Well, Drew, I will say, I mean, they're not good. They're not improving, but traffic is picking up by the hour. I was able to get unstuck from where I was, thank goodness. The snow blowers are out in full force and the plows. If you take a look behind me, you can see this is St. Joseph Street, one of the main arteries here in downtown South Bend. Traffic is picking up by the hour, like I said, people probably going to and from work. This is what we're dealing with though. Let me show you what kind of snow is packing on the roads. This isn't packing well, but this is what's on top. And then we have ice on the bottom, making it slick. So as much as these plow trucks are out plowing, there's ice on the bottom that still is making it hard to treat. And as Greg talked about, the temperatures have dropped so much. When I got out here around 4 o'clock, it was about 19 degrees. Now my car thermometer is saying it's about 13 degrees. And the longer I stand out here, the more I feel, I don't know if you can see it now, the wind's picking up, just causing more drifting to happen. I'm going to get behind the camera here, and I want to show you what road conditions we're dealing with. I'm going to zoom in. We're going to focus the camera a little bit so you can see the snow that's on the roads and the ice that's packed underneath it. And you can see some of that snow is packing down, making it hard to grab traction and hard for a lot of these cars to stop this morning. So definitely, if you do come out here, if you do have to go to work, or you do have an emergency that you need to be out on the roadways, take your time, allow extra time, and drive cautiously, because the roads are not getting too much better by the hour just because of the conditions we're dealing with, those temperatures that Greg talked about, and the blowing and drifting. Drew, back to you.
Investigators say the suspect fought with the officer before the shooting. ABC 57's Kylie Walker joins us live at Metro Homicide, where detectives released more new details overnight. Kylie, good morning. New this morning, Michigan police are searching for 3 men accused of robbing a Citgo gas station in Berrien County. State police say 3 men wearing masks walked into the Citgo gas station on M140 in Watervliet Township just before midnight Tuesday. One of the men had a gun and demanded money from employees. The other 2 stole lottery tickets. They also grabbed a cell phone from a customer. The men then got into a dark-colored sedan and drove off. The suspect arrested in the shooting outside of the University Park Mall Monday night is now behind bars. 20-year-old Joshua Villanueva Rose is charged with robbery. It happened in the parking lot outside of Sears. One person was taken to the hospital, but it's not clear how badly they were hurt. To see the full story, head to abc57.com. And we continue to follow breaking news in South Bend. Police say 3 vehicles have been involved in a crash near Golden and Portage Avenues. One car ended up flipped on its side. You're looking live right now at the scene. You can see that car flipped over. Another one crashed into that tree there on the left side of your screen. Police tell us 2 people have been hurt. We've just now learned the FACT team is on the scene investigating. You see them there also in their yellow vest. ABC 57's Alyssa Korak is on the scene working to bring you more details. Tonight, Elkhart Mayor Tim Neese will present his 3rd annual State of the City address. The address starts at 6 at the Lerner Theater's Crystal Ballroom in downtown Elkhart. All community members are welcome to attend. Mayor Neese is expected to highlight key accomplishments during his 2nd year in office. He'll also discuss Elkhart's future. A federal judge has ordered Florida's governor to create a new system to restore voting rights to convicted felons. Florida is one of 4 states that permanently bars felons from voting. The only way to get the right back is to petition for it. Then the governor and the cabinet decide whether to approve each petition. Critics say the system disproportionately keeps African Americans off of poll books. In November, voters have the chance to vote on an amendment that would restore voting rights. Kidnapping survivor Elizabeth Smart wants her name taken off of proposed laws targeting internet pornography. Smart was kidnapped and held captive for 9 months in 2002 when she was 14 years old. The so-called Elizabeth Smart law would require internet users to pay $20 to access porn. The man pushing for the legislation says it would make it harder for people to access human trafficking and pornography sites. He apparently added Smart's name because her kidnappers used pornography during the time they held her captive. Covering the world, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met with China's president after a surprise visit to Beijing. Kim traveled to the Chinese capital Tuesday. The visit comes amid diplomatic developments on the Korean peninsula. This is the first visit of 3 potential meetings with some of the world's most powerful leaders. Next month, Kim is expected to meet with the South Korean leader. Then, Kim could meet with President Trump as early as May. New Zealand police are turning to the public to help track down a stolen alpaca and the person who took him. And there's a good reason for wanting him back. The animal's blind brother relies on him to move around his pen. Right now, he's having a lot of trouble getting around, and the owners say he's helpless and alone. Police say the alpaca was taken a couple of weeks ago. The National Zoo in Washington, D.C. is getting ready to welcome a baby gorilla. Keala is pregnant and is expected to give birth soon. This is her first pregnancy, so zookeepers are doing what's called maternal training with photos and audio of gorilla vocalizations. In an ABC 57 consumer alert this morning, Apple is reaching out to students with its newest iPad. The lower-cost device is designed with classrooms in mind. Apple unveiled the new iPad at a high school in Chicago Tuesday. It'll cost students and teachers just under $300. It'll sell to the general public for a few dollars more. Other iPads can cost hundreds of dollars more. It's been almost 1 year since 2 young girls were murdered in Delphi, Indiana. Their killer still on the run. Police with little clues aside from this fuzzy picture of a man and an audio recording. 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German were known to friends and family as Abby and Libby. The 2 girls went missing while hiking on an unusually warm February day. Just 3 days later, police found their bodies near a railroad bridge close to the historic Delphi Trail. Since that day, Carroll County Sheriff Tobe Lazenby hangs a reminder in his office of the man still just outside of his grasp.
It's kind of like looking for the needle in the haystack. At this stage, I feel like we're in the middle of that haystack, still looking for that needle. No one's in jail at this point.
For a moment, Indiana State Police thought they'd found that needle in a haystack. On September 27th, they got a call from Colorado officials about this man, 31-year-old Daniel Nations. Police in El Paso County said Nations was a suspect in an incident there that shared similarities to the Delphi murders. But soon enough, ISP detectives would determine they would not have enough evidence to include or exclude Nations as a suspect in Abby and Libby's deaths. Who is not the only question keeping Lazenby up at night.
A question that is always circles around any criminal investigation, but why? Why did this happen?
Why is a question that will forever haunt German's grandparents, Becky and Mike Patty, as well. They say they won't stop until they find justice.
Our goal right now is to make his world as small as we can, to have flyers in every town in the United States, that he can't go into any town, he can't go anywhere, that his own face isn't staring at him.
We owe this to the girls. I'll spend the rest of my days chasing after this guy. That's just the way it's going to have to be.
As for the girls' families, they'll spend the rest of their days making sure Abby and Libby aren't forgotten. A memorial softball field is in the works for next year to make sure no one in the small, quiet town of Delphi forgets the lives of 2 young girls cut short far too soon. Police are still asking you to come forward if you think you know anything that will help them find the man behind these murders. You can call this number here on your screen, 844-459-5786, or email Abby and Libby Tip at cacoshrf.com. Reporting in studio, Emily Evans, ABC 57 News.